picked a state.
What is this setting here? I was just trying to see why,
This shit look weird.
what was going on, because it caught my eye as like, yo, Trap University dropped 6 hours ago. The Trump Epstein's Florida run. Let's get it. All right. Let's get it. Oh wait, let's do it again. Let's get it.
How did a 16-year-old runaway get a job at Mar-a-Lago? Why did Donald Trump pretend to kick Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for hiring this girl that worked for him, but also let him remain a member? And why on earth would a 17-year-old tennis star run away from home and stay at Donald Trump's house? Oh, Florida. Truly a very unique place. And that's probably why when you're an 80-year-old woman in Florida that accidentally hits a car at Walmart, the most appropriate thing for you to do is to slap the other driver. Although it wouldn't be as serious as aggravated battery with a Pringles can or marrying 3 women in 3 different counties without ever getting divorced, which instead of bigamy, that should be trigamy, right? Trigonometry? Or bear spraying a woman and ran over a chicken. But anyway, once upon a time in Florida, 3 different counties without ever getting divorced. Serious as aggravated battery with a Pringles can or marrying 3 women in 3 different counties without ever getting divorced, which instead of bigamy, that should
Bigamy.
Bigamy.
The offense of marrying someone while already married to another person. That's a charge? Jesus Christ. Is defined as the act of entering a marriage with one person while still legally married to another. Is considered a crime in most countries that recognize only monogamous marriages. In legal terms, bigamy involves having 2 spouses at one time. If a person knowingly enters a bigamous marriage, they may face legal consequences. The second marriage is typically void and may be annulled while the first marriage remains valid. Yo. So, polygamy. It's really not even legal. Like, yeah, relation. Can have relations. But marrying, I mean, you going to jail. Boy, man, who was married to 3 women at the same time, sentenced to a felony. A felony, nigga?
was the claim that Donald Trump made when he said that Jeffrey stole people that worked for him, and he told him to never do that again before kicking him out. The employee that he supposedly stole was Virginia, who, according to her defamation case against Ghislaine Maxwell, she worked at Mar-a-Lago in the summer of 2000. Although it's unclear how long she worked there, but a Mar-a-Lago member told journalists that Trump had actually kicked Epstein out because he harassed the daughter of another member. A membership at Mar-a-Lago is $1 million a month, by the way. At least I'm assuming this is monthly. It could be annually, but either way, that's crazy, and the lowest I've ever seen it reported is $200,000. Anyway, it's unclear who this member or his daughter are, and Donald Trump's exact quote about a woman working for him and being stolen by Epstein was, "I said if he's taking anybody from Mar-a-Lago, he's hiring or whatever he's doing. I didn't like it, and we threw him out." Now, this is where a timeline of events becomes very important, because it seems that she was taken from Mar-a-Lago in 2000 because she stated that she met Maxwell in 2000, and by 2001, she had already been trained as a massage therapist by Maxwell and taken to London where she met Prince Andrew. But Epstein being thrown out of Mar-a-Lago for this doesn't line up. The member registry at the club didn't list Epstein's account as being closed until 2007. But by that time, he had already been arrested for the crime that will legally cause him to register as a sex offender in 2006, although the case concluded in 2008. And not to mention, Virginia states that by 2003, he was already done with her and she soon left the United States and got married. So I have 3 questions, man. Was he actually removed from Mar-a-Lago for harassing a member's daughter? Because that would probably line up more than him being kicked out for poaching Virginia. My second question is, in 2000, while working at the estate, she would have been only 16 years old, and Donald Trump knows Epstein very well. So what the fuck did he think she was being hired for when she left him? How did a girl, who was essentially a runaway at the time, end up working in Mar-a-Lago? How?
My name is Juliet. I have a question. My question is, how many jets do you have and how would I apply to be a flight attendant?
You're hiring a beautiful girl who was 17 or 18 applying to be a waitress. She's so beautiful.
Oh, whoa, now.
And my people came, she said, but Mr. Trump, she has no experience. So I interviewed her anyway, because she was so pretty. And I said, let me ask you, do you have any experience? She goes, no, sir. I said, when can you start?
Hey, it's Trap University from the future, so just...
And I said, Mr. Trump, she has no experience. so you have to get her anyway because you're suffering. And I said, let me ask you, do you have any experience? She goes, no, sir. I said, when can you start?
Hey, it's Trap University from the future. So just a little editor's note here. So it turns out that right before her freshman year, her dad actually came back into her life and enrolled her into Royal Palm Beach High School, which unfortunately is the exact school that Jeffrey Epstein was recruiting girls from. Trump said himself that she was the one Epstein stole, which doesn't add up unless he didn't care about her working for Epstein.
I think she worked at the spa. He stole her.
And you see, he also said in 2019 that he hadn't spoken to Jeffrey in 15 years, which would have been 2004, and that's 4 years after Virginia left Mar-a-Lago. What was going on in Palm Beach, Florida? And this is where Pam Bondi comes in. Now, she's from Florida, and before her current position, she was the Florida Attorney General. She wasn't the Attorney General when Epstein got his famous lenient sentence of being able to leave prison 12 hours a day, 6 days a week during his sentence, but she was the Attorney General from 2011 to 2019, which during this time frame, Courtney Wild filed a civil suit in Florida that alleged Epstein ran an abuse ring that lent underage girls and women to American politicians, powerful business executives, and other world leaders. This was in 2014, and the lawsuit was ultimately accusing the federal government of not protecting her as a victim due to Epstein getting such a lenient deal, and the Supreme Court threw it out. Bondi was also in office when Virginia filed her 2 lawsuits in 2015 against Jeffrey and Ghislaine, as well as Sarah Ransom, and in all, Pam Bondi was the Attorney General during the allegations of at least 3 of his accusers, not including one that wasn't allowed to be in the first lawsuit, known as Jane Doe 4. And it seems that she just kind of ignored all of this. And I'm not saying this is a lie of Donald Trump. I mean, he made an illegal donation from the Trump Foundation to a political group supporting Pam Bondi back in 2016, and the Trump Foundation is a charitable foundation which is not allowed to engage in politics, and coincidentally, this donation happened at the same time Bondi's office was investigating Trump University, which was a fraud scheme that cost Trump $25 million in lawsuits. And she also was part of his defense in his impeachment. But 2 huge questions still remain. 2 questions that probably wouldn't even exist if Donald Trump wasn't an old man that sometimes says things that he shouldn't. You had a 16-year-old girl working for you at a summer job, which is fine. I had a summer job in high school, but for you to say that Epstein likes women on the younger side, and at the very least, the Department of Justice acknowledged that he likes very young girls, Trump had to know exactly what Jeffrey had planned for Virginia. Now, I will say that she never...
Look at that smile, nigga. That nigga look like a proud dad. Knowing that Donald just probably talking his ass off right now. Cameras around and all that shit. You know Donald.
Made any negative comments about the president, at least not to my knowledge, but even her family said it was shocking to hear him say that he was aware of her being stolen by Epstein and Maxwell. And they also state that she wasn't stolen, as Trump described.
I ain't even gonna lie, using stolen is crazy. Using the word stolen by a human being is crazy.
Indicating that they might believe she was actually transferred from the service of one to another, especially considering that Epstein was still a Mar-a-Lago member for 7 years after she worked there. And not to mention, the man who was accused of trafficking women and girls to Epstein used to stay in Trump Tower during the 90s when Trump and Epstein was spotted at numerous parties together. This picture is also true, by the way. I found it and realized they all were in Palm Beach. In fact, Danielle Bregoli's dad is a Palm Beach County deputy. But law enforcement in Florida has always been very suspicious.
It's called 21. It's basically like you go and steal all the shit that you can steal and then you get out without getting caught. Well, I did it one other time than this time, but I got caught this time. So now I gotta figure out where my purse is and where my merchandise is, because now I gotta give all the merchandise back to Walmart. Well, it's not really a game.
Yeah,
it is a game.
It's theft.
And there's just something about Pam Bondi that leaves me very skeptical. I mean, I don't know what it is, but Carolina Amnesty was a member of the Florida House of Representatives, and while in office, she embezzled $100,000 when she committed fraud with the COVID relief fund, and she ended up being charged with theft of government property. But then she hired Pam Bondi's brother as her lawyer, and wouldn't you know it, the charges got dropped.
It appears there is no longer a case, meantime, against former Republican state lawmaker Carolina Amnesty.
Now, it's not Florida's fault that whatever
against former Republican state lawmaker Carolina Amnesty.
Now, it's not Florida's fault that whatever is going on between the government and rich people getting away with crimes is happening, but Florida is caught in the middle because Trump has such a large base in Florida. And I'm not talking about his voters. The reason he raised the Mar-a-Lago membership to $1 million is because he wanted it to be more exclusive, and he didn't want existing members to sell the access they had to him. Now, something happened in 1991 that was completely glossed over, and had I not found an obscure article from a newspaper in the 90s, I would have never known about it. And I'm sure many of you guys have never heard of it. Monica Seles, by age 17, had been dominating the world tour in tennis. She won the Australian Open and successfully defended her title in the French Open, and she had been ranked #1 in the world, but she had to withdraw entering the Wimbledon Championship, which is considered the most prestigious tennis tournament in the world because of an injury. And of course, the press wanted to know what the injury was and why she couldn't enter the Wimbledon. They surrounded her house in Sarasota, Florida to take pictures and ask questions, but then they noticed that no one was home, and they didn't know where she was until someone noticed her walking the grounds of Mar-a-Lago. Now, it was reported that her parents were there too, but this was a little strange to me since this was 1991, and Mar-a-Lago didn't become the club and resort it was today until 1994. In 91, it was still just very much Trump's personal party house and residence. And not to mention, she was there just a year before this footage was taken. And just due to Epstein's presence around Donald Trump around this time, it just didn't seem like a safe place to drive 3.5 hours to stay with your teenage daughter. Especially since we know that at least one girl was recruited there, and we don't know what other girls he met at Mar-a-Lago before it was a club. And I couldn't find any links between her parents and Donald Trump or how they even knew each other, since her parents were Hungarians living in Serbia, and she didn't even become an American citizen until 3 years after all this happened. But in all, Florida was the epicenter of the entire situation that's going on today. Although, as I discussed in my What's Epstein a Spy video, his ties could be much deeper than they appear on the surface. But Palm Beach was definitely where the world, outside of the wealthy circles he ran in, got a glimpse into what was actually going on. And who can get away with what, because it can't be a coincidence that he got a sweetheart prison deal, and then his main associate is now housed at a prison that she's not even eligible to be at. And Pam Bondi was hired for a reason. I can't exactly pinpoint what that reason was, but any attorney general of any state could have been appointed.
But then he ended up passing away though. Backdoor action, probably.
As head of the Justice Department, but it had to be the one from Florida.
It was still a fucked up situation.
But we likely won't have any new information as long as the Department of Justice doesn't want us to, and we won't hear any stories from inside of Mar-a-Lago because no one wants to ruin their $1 million membership. So it seems to me like these two old friends carefully picked a state where strange activity can easily go unnoticed. Like these two old friends
It's a lot of men right here. Maybe that's a woman, right? That's look like a man. Man.
Carefully picked a state where strange.
I might be taking this out of context.
It seems to me like.
But why would he be doing this? Why would they? Are they dancing like at a school function or like? Why would they be there? And are these kids? These are kids.
Picked a state.
What is this setting here? Like, what is this building that y'all are in? Like, what is this? Why is this on camera?
Hey,
what is this? Why is there women all white? I might be reaching. Somebody could pull it up and be like, this is what happened, why they were here. Hey, I am not scared of being wrong, or I didn't even accuse anybody. I was just trying to see why, what was going on, because it caught my eye as like, why is there like a bunch of men?
Picked a state where strange activity can easily go unnoticed, and they did a good job. But thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.
Fire video, bro.